Shirt Show. All right, let's go.
Shirt Show! Talking shirt! Shirt Show! Talking shirt! Shirt Show! Talking shirt! Shirt Show! Shirt, man!
All right, episode 30 of Shirt Show. We're ringing in the new year with an introspective discussion on the past, the present, and the future. Let's go!
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. Woo! Was that pretty epic?
Yeah. I can barely see it in this, though.
I exploded one of these TNT party poppers.
I feel like exploded is a strong word. Well, anyway, I wore this for you because I know how last time you really liked how you couldn't read my face.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And so it should be a great episode. So I can't wait.
Hey, look at this. You can see my face.
Oh, dude. Was that a Sasquatch or was that Chewbacca?
I think it was supposed to be Chewbacca like years ago when like the first newer Star Wars movie came out, but it looks way more like a Sasquatch than a Chewbacca.
Yeah. Sasquatch. Sasquatch.
Oh, man, I'm really thirsty.
Yeah, me too. Oh, yeah. Well, this is going to be a long episode, so it's a good thing you got the leader version.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much we love.
Oh, first of all, Pure Leaf. Come on, what the fuck, man? Seriously.
Pure Leaf, it's so disappointing because we could have such a good thing going, you know? Like, we could have such a good relationship.
It's just like a real bond. Like, I really like it.
I know.
And we've introduced so many new people to Pure Leaf.
We have.
And it's just like...
You know when you like the girl and then she doesn't like you and you never give up?
You get that a lot, though. I never had that.
That happened. Yeah, that happened to me every time. But but hey, I'm not drinking that today. Instead, you know what I'm drinking?
Piss?
Nope. Cue the music. Right there. You know what that says? A little bit Angel's Envy.
Is that alcohol? Going hard today. Dude, you don't need a glass.
2020. Cheers.
You don't need a glass. Just drink it out of the bottle.
Up high right here. Yep. Cork it back up.
Now we got to drink it, though. You can't cheers and not drink it.
It kind of looks like tea. This is just tea. I put my Pure Leaf in a bourbon bottle.
I believe it.
Or I put my bourbon in a Pure Leaf bottle. One of those two.
This is a lot of bourbon. And I'm drinking it this entire episode.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably catch a buzz off that.
I hate to say like the New Year's resolution stuff, but I really feel like this break everybody's mindset, especially with 2020. It's like like when they come back on the 4th, I feel like it's a fresh start to next year and all the other stuff.
Well, I thought with this episode, we could do kind of divide it up into 3 parts, and one of them could be past and then
Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3.
Yeah, 3 acts. 3 acts. It's like a play.
Right.
No, a past and a present and a future. And so
also like a Christmas, what's that Christmas movie where it's like,
Dickens.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, we can have a.
If only we had people calling in that could be like the people that come in the middle of the night and set us straight.
More, is it whiskey time? Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sip. All right, so past. I thought we could talk about in 2020 the things that we did right, and then the things that we did wrong. And if you've got any, so I've got. I can kick it off with something.
Yeah, kick it.
Right, and that is diversification. So we were diversified enough when that happened, when it all shut down, that some of our customers went away, but we had some customers that were still around. And so so we were diversified enough to have some work and to have some print work, right? But at the same time, I almost want to say that was, thinking about it now, that was also something I did wrong, is that we weren't diversified quite enough. I mean, if I'm looking into this year, like one of those customers that went, or we were heavy into schools, right? And most of that went away initially. And so we pivoted quick and we adapted, but what saved us was our diversification. Like we weren't all schools, a company that was like all events or all schools or all something that went away. Then, what did they do? I'm curious, what was their next thing? And did they make it
masks
through? So, right. Well, that was ours. And so what's funny is that everything went away in March, most everything. And then the customers I'm talking about, how we were diversified, they brought masks here. They brought us masks, and that saved our April. We lost money in March. It was the second month ever since we've been open that we ever lost money. And we made money in April. And so, but it was only because of masks. We did so many masks. I can't even tell you how many masks, but we did a lot of masks. And so that saved us. And it wasn't that we were selling masks on like out of our store or anything like that. It was just the customers, the relationships. Yeah, the relationships we had. And so a lesson I think that I learned from that is diversification is good. And I want to take a harder look at that and get even more diversified, so that whatever happens next, we've got something anyway.
Right. And that's the good thing about, everybody always looks at the negative that this year has brought, and it's nothing to do with this year. It's just a bunch of shit happened and whatever, but it definitely helped everybody realize like what they need to do to be more future proof. Like, everybody should do that. Everybody should diversify and have like their hands in all these other things. It's the same with a business owner. They always say like, if you own a business, maybe you should own a couple businesses or put your money in other spots so that if one business fails, you don't fucking lose everything. And it's the same thing. It's like, have your hands in different customers for that business so that if one customer base goes away, you have all the others.
Yeah, I've heard that thing about multiple businesses too, like where you have this, if you look at it like a dinner plate, you have your entree, which for us it'd be, Shirkong screen printing. But then you have your side dishes too that you're kind of working on, that you're mostly in on this entree, but you've got these other things that you're working on in case the entree isn't what it, goes away or whatever, something catastrophic happens. Yeah. I've heard that too, but I didn't do that.
Yeah. Well, I have like this building and I have renter income. So like I have that, and that's one thing like I've been trying to do. And that's kind of what we did this year is we got the building kind of finished as far as like renovations. So now money I was taking to fix up the building, I think I'm going to start buying real estate. So I think I'm going to start buying like houses and flipping them with my dad. I don't know if I want to flip them or if I want to rent them out, but I think I might start doing that within the next couple of years. But it's the same thing. It's just having extra things in case like one business dips down, you have other ones to pick it back up or just keep you going. So,
well, what you just said there is one of the things that I did wrong. So I've had this building I don't own, but in the past I have had a shop where at the building that I own, but this one we don't. And so we lease, and the last lease I signed was actually in October, before all this happened. And looking back, I would have had a part in there that says, hey, if your income or revenue, so your gross revenue falls to, half of what it is at lease signing, or you can make up whatever number you want, but half of what it is at lease signing, then you have an option to either shrink, like get smaller, downsize, right, or something, because here's what we did is that we were at 7,500 feet. We added 5,000 feet, and we added 5,000 feet, 4 months before all this happened. And so obviously if this happened 4 months earlier, I never would have taken on 5,000 more feet, not under this uncertain times, right? We'd have just stayed small and been conservative with it all. Well, we didn't lose, our income didn't drop to 50%, but for a few months in there, it was in the 60s, and then it climbed to 70 and 80 and back to We're back to 100 now, but I mean, I've got 4 years left on, starting next month, I have 4 years left on that lease, 48 payments. And wouldn't it be awesome to know that if, let's say it just gets way worse than it, and like if something catastrophic were to happen. And so I think there needs to be some sort of, next time I sign a lease, if I ever sign a lease again, if I don't, build our own building, if I ever sign a lease again, I'm going to sign some sort of catastrophic like insurance policy clause, or then I'm not signing. Period.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a mistake I made, because you were mentioning how you're diversified and that you have rental income. And so, as long as their businesses are okay and they don't go under, because there's nothing guaranteeing that, I guess, but it is.
Well, the nice thing about it is you can always find someone else to rent. I mean, it's not instant, but like I at least have that option where if they leave, it's ready for the next
under
person.
Normal circumstances, but maybe not
right.
A pandemic, so.
Right. But that's the other thing too, is that like with owning this building and not owing anything at all, even if they left, I'm not hurting. Like I don't need that money. Sure. Like the nice thing about her renting that space right now is that the money, like the taxes, insurance and all that for this building, she covers with her rent money. So like I don't have to pay a dime. Like
beautiful.
Right. Like I told you, my electric and gas bill for this building is really the only thing I have to pay like every month. And if we were to shut the doors from COVID, my bill every month was like $800. And that's exactly what her rent is $800.
Dude. Okay.
So,
wow. That's very different scenarios.
Yeah.
But, okay. So something else that you did right or wrong. You have anything
that I did right and wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. Got anything?
Well, I feel like what I did right was what we were talking about, but it was completely by accident, which was owning the building and just having my equipment paid for, to where when anything like this happened, like a pandemic or whatever, I was covered and I didn't owe a bunch of people a bunch of money. So being pretty much debt free is a huge factor in that. And I would recommend anybody that has a business to strive for that, to not just be like debt. Like, oh, I'm out of debt now, let me get a bunch more debt again and then pay that off and then get a bunch of debt again. It's like, to like just strive to be debt free. And then if anything ever happens, you don't owe anybody anything. Nobody's knocking on your door being like, give me my money.
Right.
But like I said, I didn't plan for that at all.
Oh, you kind of did. I think that you did, just by saying, hey, I want to operate like this next piece of equipment. I'm
right. I mean, I planned to be debt free, but I wasn't like, in case of, fucking swine flu.
Well, right. You didn't know why, but right. But you knew that you should be because of what may happen. And so
right.
I think that's I think subconsciously you did do that. You made the right move. And so I would say that's something you did right for sure. And we were in the same boat with regards to that, because we own all of our equipment too. So we've leased nothing. And we've been, we a while back, I bought an embroidery machine, a 4-head embroidery machine on a lease. I leased it for 36 payments, but I mean, that was years ago.
I mean, you can lease stuff. I'm not saying don't lease stuff. I'm just saying like, look at what you can actually afford. Like people lease stuff because it's just how it works out for their like working capital. You're like, okay, if I break it up this many times, it works in my cash flow like every month or whatever. Like that's fine. At least figure that shit out. I'm just saying there's a lot of people who want stuff and they don't think about it or do the research or look at anything and be like, oh, I can actually afford this.
They don't look at their cash flow.
A, B, and C happens. Right. They're just like, fuck it, I want it. The bank's willing to give me the money.
So I would say that I would say that my advice would go like this. If you have the cash to purchase the equipment, do that. But as long as it doesn't put you in a bad cash position, so if you have, in other words, if you have $1,000 and the piece of equipment that you want to buy is $1,000, don't, that's going to put you at zero. That's worse than having a payment. I mean, you need cash, like cash is king. You have to have cash to operate. Right. And so I would say that if you're leasing something and it gives you a good cash position, then that's a different strategy.
Cash position.
Cash. Right. I mean, does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. And I was probably like 2 years into business, and I talked to the business owner that I kind of looked up to and talked to a bunch of times, not print related at all. And I'd asked him about it. And I was always, like I said, that mentality of like, I want to pay this off. I want to pay this off. And it was a payment that I had on the building or whatever. And I was like, oh, I'd love to just like, I have this couple orders coming up where I could probably take all the profits and just like pay him off and get him out of there. And he was like, why would you do that? Like, realistically, why would you do that? And I was like, well, because then I don't have to pay him anymore. But he's like, yeah, that's the money you made from doing those things is money you need to run your business and use for like X amount of time. Like same thing you just said, like if you have $1,000 and it costs $1,000, you're at zero. So that's what I was going to do is I was just going to like buy something, be back to zero, buy something, be back to zero. And he was like, no, dude, it's all about cash flow. Like as long as you need to make sure you have reserves and you have money to buy everything you need for, you know, like a month and salaries and everything else, like don't kill yourself, but like spread it out. So
do you have a line of credit?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of things where people offer me money. It's funny. I didn't ask for it, but like banks, there's like 2 banks in our area that kind of like fight for our business, which is kind of like how like S&S and Broder and all those guys are, is they like try to fight for your business and give you like best rates and all that other stuff. But like one of the banks came in here not the other day, it was probably a month ago now. And they were like, hey, like we see you have like, you know, like $5,000 credit line that you never use. But we'd like you to start using, like, we'd love for you to start like getting loans and like paying us more money and stuff. You know what I mean? They were just like, like, how can we, cause they see how much you make, you know what I mean? They see your yearly nut and they're like, how can we get some of that? So they fought really hard. And I just had that $5,000 for like overdraft protection in case I ever needed it. And they came in and they were like, oh, you know, with all this government money going around or whatever, they're like, we can give you like another line of credit that goes just on your bank account where like, if you want it, it's there. Like apply for it. If you get approved, it's there. And they were like, oh, we'll give you a $50,000 credit line. And I just like signed a piece of paper that's saying like, if I wanted, I could use it. And I applied for it and they gave it to me. And they actually the day after Christmas. So yesterday I got an email saying like it was there, it was approved. So like if I wanted to use that money, it was there. It's just like I have no use for it right now and I don't plan on using it, but
it's good though to have a line of credit.
It's good to have it. Yeah. It's good to be like,
I mean, what if you, like, for example, if you come across something, and you want to, it's just a piece of equipment or whatever, and you want to buy it and you are going to lease it, let's say, well, you can buy the piece of equipment with that line of credit and then sign papers on a lease later, you know, if you want. It's
just a peace of mind thing to have it there. Like I said, knowing that, like you said, if anything happens, or if I do say there's like a print auction or whatever, where someone's selling off equipment and it's like, they're like, it's just, you know, it's a once in a lifetime chance to get this piece of equipment for this price or whatever. It's like, I have that if I want it.
Exactly.
I just don't like being tempted with that kind of stuff. It's like, hey, you have $1 million floating over here. Like,
well, you have to have good self-control. Yeah. You can't go using it on your vacay to Maui. So we have a line of credit and I hadn't touched it in probably, I don't know, at least 5 years. And we get a letter every year that says, hey, we've renewed it and still there. Well, the day, you know, in March where all the shit went down, I drew the entire amount because, you know, I didn't know, like, I just wanted to like, okay, we need to have as much cash as possible right now. And so, cause you could always pay it, like it's all online. So I just transferred it online to my checking and I could just move it back the next day if I wanted.
That's how this is. Well,
I transferred it every single, I maxed it out like that day because I heard somewhere like, well, what if they, you know, took it back? I mean, what if they canceled it? You know, like they didn't want to overexpose themselves to a bunch of businesses who are all of a sudden taking their lines of credit to pay their payrolls and they can't even pay it back. And so
a lot of people, a lot of things did that too. Like lenders, they were just like, oh, because of rough times, we're not going to like do this.
Right.
You know, if you wanted this amount of money, we'll do like half of it.
It's funny what you were saying about the banks, though, how they're competing for you. I remember when I used to run, that was a thing. Like I would run deposits just to get out of here, like otherwise sometimes I'm just in these four walls like all day and no air or whatever. And so I forced myself, I'm going to run the deposit. And so I'd go run it. And all of a sudden, like this was a couple of years back, they started when I went inside, I knew them by name and we'd bullshit, all of a sudden they're like, they closed down the teller windows and they're like, oh, we all have, cubicles or offices now. And so when you went in, they'd say, come on back, and you go and sit in their office. And of course, the reason why they want to do that is they're like, oh, by the way, there's this new credit card or whatever. Or have you thought about, this loan or anything like that? They just start pitching you stuff. And I know they have to do that because it's
I think of them as an employee, like they probably get all kinds of like bonuses and incentives and shit to like be like, oh, I have this business
for their branch.
Right. Like come in and get a loan for $300,000 or something.
So, all right. Things that we did right, things we did wrong. Anything else you can think of besides? Like,
well, I know I did absolutely nothing wrong this year. So I really have anything for that. I mean, I'm just on this trajectory all the time.
You never fuck up, right? Ever.
Right. Ever. No.
But let's say you did do something hypothetically, let's say you did something wrong. What was it? Or what would it be? Not what was it? Because it didn't happen. But like, if you were to do something wrong, what would it be last year? Does that not make sense? That doesn't make sense. How about something?
I honestly can't think of anything I really did wrong this year other than just like the usual daily, fuck ups. But I think, and this is like a really deep topic and I called you about this the other day that really just kind of like bugged me, and I was reaching out to a buddy for advice or whatever. And I've kind of always, and I've talked about it a ton in this podcast, and I've talked to a ton of people have talked to me about how they like that's how I run this business and everything, where everybody's buddy and all that stuff. And I feel like for me, that's how it was for a really long time. And that's how it is. Like everybody here is a tight knit group and we're all like family and whatever. But I really feel like at the end of this year, I kind of got hit with basically one of my employees quit. I won't go too into detail with it, but he had some problems with stuff, and it wasn't all necessarily here. It was home life and here and whatever else. And I feel like a lot of the mentality was the fact that we joke around a lot, and we, we're not like manager. Everything's like by the book, and like, this is how we deal with these issues and all this other stuff. So anyway, it came to a head where basically he quit like 2 days before we went on break, 2 days before Christmas, basically. And he was just like, I quit, left, no call, no show, whatever. And then Brian and Chris are like my best friends that have been here since very beginning. Like as soon as I started this company, they were here. I hired them on to work with me, and Brian came in and talked to me and kind of just, kind of gave me some advice on what he thought as being an employee here, like what I should do and maybe things we could do better in the future and all that other stuff. And then the day we took a break or whatever, same thing with Chris, like he wrote me a long email, and on my phone, how on your phone, when you get an email, it's really long. It's really fucking long because it's like set up for a phone. I felt like I was scrolling forever. And it was just like all these like heartfelt tips and ideas on like how I should look at this company for my employees in the future. And
was it good insight?
Yeah, no, it was all great insight. And it was actually stuff I was already thinking of because I was talking to you about it, like employee benefits and all this other stuff. And like, I'll admit it. And I've talked about this on this before, but like, I've never gone too deep into employee benefits just because I generally have a smaller crew. Like there's 10 of us. And it just didn't.
That's big enough though.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, I never super looked into it other than the one time I looked into like health insurance, and it was just not worth it. And half of the employees were getting more than half of the employees, almost all of them were getting covered by their spouses or some other means. But it was just a lot of stuff like that like basically I shouldn't be like paying my employees or doing benefits because it's like the average. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't just be like everybody who gets paid here gets paid this amount because I talked to 10 other screen printers and they say that's what they pay their employees. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I'm safe and I'm X amount of dollars over minimum wage. This is a safe place to pay them and I can get away with it. Like, I don't care about getting away with it. I just more came from my life and the way I grew up where I'm just kind of like I said, that's why I pay stuff off, because I don't want to have that over my head of like, I owe somebody something. It's the same thing with like payroll, like always. And everybody who gets paid here gets paid well. Like nobody gets paid shitty. But I've just never gone like, you know, super above and beyond because I'm there. I know like, what if something happens or what if we have a slow month and I can't make payroll and all that sort of stuff. So basically they were just like, hey, I've seen the kind of improvements you've done in this company and all these things. And like, maybe this year, like I'm not asking for it is what both of them said. Like, I'm not asking for more money in any way. I just think that maybe in the future, like with new hires and all this other stuff, maybe you should offer them more incentives that are like I said, like PTO or higher wage.
I think that's great
to like make them be proud of working here. Cause that's like one of the things Chris said that resonated with me a lot was just like a lot of people want to work here because of it's like the cool place to work or we do fun stuff and like all this other stuff. But the thing is that that's always lingering in people's minds of like, I love working here. I love being a part of this company. But on the days when you're just like dogged because we have to stay late and you have a lot of stuff to do, a lot of that cool factor goes out the window because you're just like, I've worked like 12-hour days every day this week. And, you know, it'd be nice if I was paid like this much more or whatever. And
right.
I feel like going into this year, this is what I did wrong, I guess. It was probably, I don't think it's necessarily anything wrong, but it's something I really, especially, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Chris and Brian for this because they're the ones that kind of came to me with it, but it already was in my mind is I think I'm just going to go that much higher with this year. I think when everybody gets back on the 4th, I'm just going to have like a shop meeting and be like, or talk to Kim, my accountant, and be like, this is what I can afford. Like, I know I can get away with this. Everybody's getting like a raise to this point. It's not like everybody's getting 25-cent raise. It's like, no, like dollars more than what they were.
I think that if you don't have benefits, and this is separate from compensation, whether it's hourly or salary, I think that if you don't have benefits at all, you know, and the benefits I'm talking about that we have and that most places offer are paid holidays, PTO, and then health insurance. So, I mean, I think that's separate from compensation.
Right.
So separate from hourly or salary compensation. And so when we first started here, we didn't have benefits. And so the first thing I added along the way was just paid holidays because that was really easy for me.
Right. And that's what we talked about. And I think that's what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to do paid holidays and look into like, obviously people that have worked here for quite a while, be like, all right, you're going to get X amount of PTO.
Yeah. And then PTO it would be the second thing. Like, so once you have paid holidays, then you could add PTO and you can, you know, it's completely up to you because you can say, well, we're going to have one week or 40 hours and that's going to be your balance and you can use it throughout the year. Or you can make whatever number up you want. And then group health is a whole different thing. And so I think once you have all of those things, in addition to just compensation, then that's, I mean, beyond just it's cool to work there or cool to work at Shirkong, or I really like the creative, or I really like to make things, or whatever it is, the reason why you choose to work.
Well, it's the like real factor. You know what I mean? It's the like I said, you can do things for like how your feelings and all that, but it's the realness of like, I have, you know, a wife and a kid and a house payment and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with, I like where I work. It has to do with, I need fucking money to pay my bills. You know what I mean? So that's the part that I've always just kind of like, I'm that spirited of like art spirited where I'm just like, I just want to do what I want to do and I'll figure the rest out later. Like, you know, that, and that's the truth. That's the kind of guy I am. Like I'm usually like business minded in the fact, like I know where I want this company to go and I'm trying new things and stuff, but I'm not like, I don't have everything together. Like I'm trying to figure everything out as we go. And like a lot of that stuff is the stuff that's like,
same here.
taxes and shit like that. Nobody wants to fucking think about that
Same
stuff.
here,
It's
yeah,
just
I mean,
like, you have to like spend time on it when you get to a certain point. Now, like I said, I feel like I'm just at that level. Like I'm at that bottleneck where like, if I want to go from like 10 people to 15 people or 20 people, I need to figure this shit out now. Like I need to figure out like, this is what everybody who works here is worth. Pay them that, make sure they're more than happy with the real stuff. And then,
I mean, I don't know that you have to commit to giving everybody raises. You could just say, okay, when you get back on the 4th, you could say, and you're going to have that meeting, you know, an all in or all hands on deck meeting. You could say, look, starting now, and this is a perfect time to do it, right? The beginning of the year, you can say paid holidays the rest of the year, and you can pick out the holidays you want. We have 6. And then you can say everybody gets 40 hours PTO in their bank right now. And you just essentially gave, because we do 6 holidays and then 5 more days of full week pay. You just gave 11 days pay. I mean, that's a huge, commitment for you right there. Yeah. And so, you can just start there. I would just say that's a great place to start. So I feel like the other thing that we did wrong was an HR issue too. And that is I brought somebody back that I really like as a person. And did a good job, but had a few things that were problematic with their working here. And they had worked here for a while, but they were furloughed. But when I brought them back, and I knew, like I was like, oh, I don't think I should, but I went ahead and brought them back anyway because we needed.
I learned this exact lesson of what you're talking about a couple of years ago. Like I know where this is going.
Well, I brought them back, and
it's the ex-girlfriend thing. It's when they're gone, like you leave them in a couple months or a year, you're like, I think we can make it work again. And then you get back with them and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like I left them for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah. You forget, like, maybe you do. Maybe you forget about some of the bad things, about the habits or whatever it was that you knew. You were kind of had that gut feeling of I shouldn't bring them back, but I went ahead and did it. And I had to then let them go again. And they knew, like we had verbal warnings. I went through all the formalities, and they knew that if they were, what their problem was and why and they had a chance. In other words, he had a chance to correct it, but just had to let him go. And so that was a mistake. I knew I shouldn't have done that. So that was something I did wrong. And I know it was a good lesson to remind me of, if I have that in my gut, like if I don't think I should do it, then just don't do it. So,
yep. No, I definitely go that route.
Well, so I don't know. That's what, I guess
was past.
That's past.
2020.
Present. We have this thing that's going on. We kind of touched on it a minute ago about, that was more to do with shipping, but it's the stock issues. It's trying to order shirts. Joanne, when she is ordering shirts, I need to take a video or a picture of this because it's so great. It's so cool. Like she has every distributor open. We really need to get her a giant monitor, like, I don't know, 10 feet wide, and or maybe multiple monitors, have S&S, Broder, Sanmar, TSC, whoever else, I'll just go down the list, right? And have everybody that has just, you can look at inventory because you're trying to fill this order of 100 shirts that are in whatever style that you can't get at the main ones. And so
that's what other places. The problem is this might go away and it probably won't be relevant anymore, but it could be, like, if this was a future thing, it'd be awesome if there was an app that was just like, where's the stock? And you just like ordered it all right from that app.
And then it automatically
ordered from all those places.
But it would be good, but like there's such strategy.
I would buy that app right now.
Me too. There's such strategy though that goes into purchasing. That's such a hard job, and you have to be so good at it, because think about it. Like even at S&S, you can buy this shirt and it could be coming from one of, 5 or 6 different locations. And if you put it put the one in the cart that's from Vegas or whatever. And you know what it was doing? Actually, it was automatically choosing your shipping methods, and it was choosing USPS because it would default to that when at certain locations, because it wanted you to, because they had their caps, their limits from from UPS. And so, dude, it's such a hard job.
You know what really makes me want to punch a baby in the face is when, and I'm the purchasing person. Like I'm the Joanne where like I have to order all the blanks and stuff. Mm-hmm. is when
Joanne's way hotter.
Well, yeah, obviously. But like you have, like you said, all those tabs of like SNS, SAMR, all the places or whatever, you finally fucking find something that works. Like you find an alternative or you find that actual item and you get it in the cart and you're adding more items and you're adding stuff like SNS, for example. You order all this stuff and like 10 minutes later, you're finally done and you go to the cart and those items you found, someone else already ordered them or they're gone. Every single fucking time I was just like, oh, like I want to punch my monitor so bad. You can't
sleep on that. You got to go. Like
that's what sucks is like you have to like fucking order everything instantly. You have to be like,
we ordered everything. Stock. We changed to that. I would say early December. We all of a sudden said, doesn't matter. We turn an order in because it's free ship no matter what. Like no matter what size. So turn an order in, boom, order it. Doesn't matter. Like doesn't matter. We used to wait till 2:00 or whatever and just order everything for a few hours, but except for SAMR, right? But didn't matter. We just ordered it 8 a.m. It just order right away. And that's what we shifted.
It's funny. Like I have certain orders where like a customer ordered, say it was like 50 independent Army green hoodies or whatever. Like I would tell Sarah, I'd be like, hey, there's no stock in this. She would take the invoice and then just like periodically check to see if there was stock. Yeah. And she would like come from her office. I see her coming with like an invoice in her hand and she's like, hurry up, order these right now. They're in stock. And it's in like Texas. And I would just like go right on, order it. And then you finally hit submit and you're like, you feel like I won, I got it. Like it's on its way. And it's just like,
it's like a video game.
I'm so over that shit.
They need to make a video. They need to make a video game. And so that we can get on our phones, it's just like ordering shirts, and you have all these obstacles. And then when you get them all in the cart and you purchase them and then you win. But hey,
I don't want to do that.
We have somebody that can really help out with this and provide some insight, I think, about what's going on with,
is it Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
I mean, I think people are going to be surprised because they're going to be, how did you land him on your podcast? But hey, it's my
the highest paid actor.
Right. No. It's better than that. It's better than that. We have Chris from SNS. And
that's pretty much the same.
He called me last week because he was kind of doing his annual end of the year, like, hey, so you guys did awesome or you guys suck,
Which is probably what he said.
And he was telling me, or we were talking about, the issues with stock and he said, hey, I've got some news. So I asked him to join us today and he's here, he's waiting.
Oh, he's ready right now.
Yeah, I just he's in the waiting room, and so let's bring him in. You want to do that right now? Hold on.
Look at that backdrop this time.
Yeah, I know. Where's the loft? I thought for sure you'd be in the loft.
No, I'm hiding. I'm hiding in my wife's room where she does Zoom calls because they got all the kids and dogs downstairs barking. Need a little peace and quiet.
I'm with you.
How are you guys?
Good. What's going on, man?
Not too much, man. Having a good little break and kind of enjoying the weather today. It was nice.
Yeah.
So got outside and did a little metal detecting, one of my hobbies today. So that was fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What'd you say you found? Like a golden?
This is interesting. I found a silver $50 that was made into a ring, probably like a wedding ring or something. And I posted on one of the forums and they said in military, a lot of guys would make these on their ships out to battle, or like if they were in jail, sometimes like the brig, when they had time on their hands, they would make these things. And several people posted stuff in World War II. Like one guy was in Japan on his route to Korea for the Korean War. And he has one from his grandfather. It was pretty cool. So whatever it was a cool find that they had no idea what I found. It was really neat.
Where did you find it?
Found it in a park. Just metal detecting, found a bunch of beer cans and, trash. And all of a sudden something came out. I'm like, what's that? And I looked at it on the inside and it said $50 on it. And it was weird. And it was like a coin that was turned into a wedding band.
That's awesome. What's the coolest thing you found?
I don't know. It depends what you like. I got this old, like an Art Deco back scratcher from the 19th. It's got a hand on one side and a serpent on the other. It's pretty wild.
It's metal?
Yeah, it's about a foot long. It's really cool.
I love how you said it depends on what you're into, and the first thing you're like, I got this back scratcher.
Yeah, it was really cool. Well, last weekend I found a brothel token at a friend's house, so that was kind of interesting.
That was his.
Yeah, exactly. They have 2 daughters. It must have been them.
Right. So, yeah, me and Andy have been talking for a little while already, just wrapping up 2020 and everything. And I feel like the biggest concerns every printer's had this year is finding stock and everything else. We were hoping maybe you could shed light on the future and what you found out.
Okay. Well, as inventory goes right now, S&S hasn't, taken their foot off the gas on buying stock. We're still buying at levels we were buying prior to the COVID. And we continue to buy at that rate. Mills have been challenges, all the way through fourth quarter. Gildan's probably going to be the first one out of the woods in the first quarter, I think, just because their production capacity is so much larger than their competitors. So I think they'll be coming back around, which is going to help about 80% of our screen burners, because I think a lot of people have been looking, for basic crews and basic hoods and just, nuts and bolts, man, that drive the machine.
Black anything?
Yeah, black and white. Exactly.
So when do you see Gildan coming back?
I would say most of them are going to be coming back at the end of the first quarter. I think that would be safe to say. Bella Canvas is definitely going to be end of the first quarter, maybe, slightly there, March time, just because a lot of their stuff is coming in imported. So there's about a 6-month cycle for their stuff to come in.
Now, do you feel like with them, the problem is kind of gone? They're just trying to play catch up, or?
Well, they're doing a couple things. With Gildan, the problem still exists at capacity, but they have a lot of capacity. So they're building stuff as fast as they can. Also, at the same time, you probably noticed on availability of like expanded sizes or oddball colors, even oddball styles, Gildan had a plan to drop these over some time. They kind of accelerated that this year. So they dropped them early. So they're really trying to focus in on what they're going to carry. Gildan was always known for having deep inventory and having basics on the shelf. And I think they kind of got overextended. So, I think historically they were known as somebody that you can go to and buy that truckload of black. This year that wasn't possible.
That makes sense. That's good news, actually.
Yeah, it's great.
They're really focusing on the basics.
Yes. So you're going to see it come back around, I think, at the end of the first quarter. So I would use that kind of as a marking stick. I think till then it's probably going to be still kind of hand to mouth, as they get stuff, we're going to sell through it. But, as far as we're concerned, we're taking in levels or have orders written for above what was going on prior to COVID. So we're trying to get as much as we possibly can into our buildings.
Yeah. I just want to make sure it wasn't going to be one of those things where like they finally come back in stock and then everybody and their brother buys it. And then they're back to like, well, shit, now we don't have enough to make again.
Right. Well, the good thing is you're going to be out of fleece season, so they're going to have sweatshirts, but they won't have T-shirts.
I'd be so pissed if like nothing but hoodies are back in stock.
Exactly. Medium hoods will be in stock. You're lucky.
I'd just be happy to get a 2X, 3X, or 4X of anything.
Yes, exactly. No, I feel the same way. That's been the most difficult thing, I think, overall, is getting that full size run that people are looking for just to fill a basic need,
Mm-hmm.
I think people have an idea of what happened, with regards to, why there's such shortages. But can you recap, or what anyway, what got us to this point?
Well, I think what you probably saw is, the beginning and the timing of COVID, where it started, it was kind of at the middle of February. That's when it was kind of, in the news a little bit, but it was still something that was kind of far-fetched, not immediately in our backyard. And, once it started getting out there and stuff, they were in sweatshirt production. So everything got clamped down at the end of February, beginning of March. Until the second week in July, they had no production capacity. So there was nothing being built. If there was a half a sweatshirt sitting on the cart, it sat there until July 15th. Nobody touched it. So they had to come back and then go back in there and get all the components and start up production, with half the staff or whatever the limitations were by the governments in those places. So, they might have had 5,000 people working at 5 plants, and they might have been down to 2,500 because of COVID restrictions and spacing and, things that the government required. So a much harder thing to do. Plus they had all that backlog of orders from there. And then, I'd say within the last 60 days, we've been talking about the hurricanes in the same area that just have been hit by COVID. So all over Central America where, Gildan manufactures, Bella Canvas manufactures, Haynes Fruit, Russell, Champion, they're all built in that same little area. All of those places were hit by that stuff. So, they just got a double whammy about 3 months after they started back up, So
That's
it's an
crazy.
unfortunate set of circumstances, but that's where it got us to today. The way I look through it, if you look at it now and what we've all been through, and if we've been allowed to pivot and make some changes, I think on the other side of this, there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there because, the market's going to be ready when this thing starts slowly lifting. You're going to see a lot of opportunities, I think, to improve market share and to, people are going to be in a mode, I think, to buy products. And we saw small glimpses of that as restrictions were lifted locally here, in the last 30, 60 days, and then when the restrictions clamped down, then business slowed down as well. So it really followed about between 5 and 7 days behind those calls in the municipalities or government level. So, it was really close reaction to what was going on, which was very interesting to follow.
So long story short, there's light at the end of the tunnel right now.
Yes, and that's a shorter tunnel than it was when we talked the last time, because we're looking at 6 months from now, and now we're probably inside of 3. So
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really, really good news. Well, we got you. Is there anything new that you're stoked about from SNS?
Well,
for 2021?
Yeah, we get a lot of stuff. We're still doing the updates to our website. So we're doing live updates. As soon as a new product comes out, we put it live up on the website. Like this week, Independent Trading just came out with new duffel bags, So you got this killer set of about 12 duffels, and they've got patterns like camos and stripes and different things you would see at retail at a decent price point. So that's kind of cool. Bella Canvas is launching new colors in January. So those should be ready probably the 3rd week in January, maybe the 2nd week in January. They'll start shipping out to distributors, but a whole new collection of colors, which would be nice, and that give you new things to, make creative designs on. So that's going to be fun. Tell
them just to dye all that shit black and at least put black
and white. We'll take black and white.
Yeah,
right?
I don't care about colors right now. Just give me the usuals.
Hey, you're 80% of the customers. I agree with that. There used to be a funny story when before I came to SNS. One of the guys that I worked with over the years, he was a owner in SNS prior to our current owners, and I would go to meetings with him all the time, and he would say, I would say, hey, let's get the new Anvil Henley, the thing with the pocket and long sleeve. And he would say, do you want that or do you want more black BBTs? And I go, I want that. And he said, you're going to sell 3 dozen of that. And you're going to sell 3,000 dozen of the black beefy. So, which one do you want?
Exactly.
It both takes up the same space.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, black's key.
Yeah, for real.
You really helped us in when this all happened, and we replaced. We were talking earlier about diversification, and so we shifted and we were printing masks. We went to PPE, and so I don't think that option is going to be there this spring. And so, if something happens or we go, take a step backwards and it locks down again. What is there? Do you have any insight on that? Like, what do we move to? What's the new thing?
It's a great question because, as we look at our business too, a lot of the growth and from, that second quarter came out of PPE orders, whether you sold, 1,000 masks to somebody or 20,000 or 100,000. So what are you going to replace that with? Essential businesses would be good to key in on. There's a lot of those out there, from banking to grocery stores to, things of that nature, retail preprints, your own line, I think church groups and stuff like that. Those are things that are still active, and there's many more sectors out there. But, to kind of focus on that, construction's another big one. I think that everybody that at screen print and embroidery level can service. I think there's still a lot of things happening there. So that's another strong market. But I think it's very important that you think about that now, because I think the first quarter is going to be really tough. Because the government support of what's going on for businesses, a lot of them, really struggled this past year. It's a very difficult year for a lot of our customers. And, if there's no new programs out there for some people, you're going to see people that are out of business are going to have a really tough first quarter. So until this vaccination gets out there and gets a little more mainstream, people are going to have to really be planning ahead. So you're not going to be able to wait and try to do it just in time and try to plan, what you're going to sell this month. You really are going to have to be out there about 3 months in front. So, my advice would be looking, what you're going to be selling for that second quarter right now.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it's funny you say construction. I remember that was one of the first orders we received when we came back after that first shutdown. Somebody actually placed a pretty big order from a construction company, because I was like, who's really going to be placing orders right now? Because we were so used to schools and and other businesses, a lot of B2B, but the construction business, I don't know if it seems like they're busier now.
Yeah, they were busy, curbside deliveries at all restaurants that had to pivot and do the curbside. So a lot of restaurants, you think that, there's a lot of them that are hurting, but the ones that are open have to wear like high vis to go out to the car at the curbside. So a lot of them have started buying safety type of apparel. So we're selling lighter weight, high vis vest, high vis t-shirts. So their workers are safe. Or you go into a Trader Joe's or, a grocery store type parking lot and they're full of people. So people are wearing high vis out there. So some of the stuff in the construction and some of the safety stuff, I think is applicable to every business, because so many of them now have curbside service. And also the people that go in and go shopping for other people, whether they're going into Whole Foods or, places like that are drivers, so they're recognizable. So the safety and the, I think in construction stuff all kind of goes hand in hand, and it really fits most essential businesses. Most of them haven't thought about, hey, I need this because it's brand new. It's going to take us as people to educate them. So we need to give them information. Yes, you should be wearing this. Have you thought about this? And being more suggestive selling, to make sure they're covering their backside so they don't get sued if somebody gets hit in the parking lot dropping off an order, So it's really relative now, where prior to COVID, it was less of an issue.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on and giving us some insight on that stuff and guaranteeing that full stock by January 4th.
100% guaranteed by Chris.
That's big of you.
That's not what I said.
That's big of you. We appreciate that.
Hey, that's okay. I'm guaranteeing stock for both of you.
Dude, I'm fine with that. I don't give a shit. It's over. Fuck you guys. We're getting stock.
Yeah, call you two to get your stock, get your blank tees. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, God.
All right, man. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, you guys have a good one. Thanks for
everything. See you, dude.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you.
See you. All right. I'm glad that he did that, because I was looking over here like, how do you work this?
It always takes you like 10 minutes to kick somebody. You know what's funny? This is like a little thing, but like when we finally say goodbye, I try to sit as still as possible to look like I'm frozen so that it's not weird. I'll be like, all right, see ya.
Well, fuck, like how do you, oh no, see, there's no thing over here.
Oh God.
Strange, and I don't know how to work this. Anyway, I don't have to.
Well, regardless, Chris was awesome. I feel like that was a really good episode we did earlier in the year that a lot of people looked at to be like, what is actually happening? Like we were actual news. But it's good to hear that shit's looking up. It is funny though. It's kind of like a kick in the dick to be like Bella Canvas is coming out with new styles, it's like, I don't care. Like, get us back to normal first.
I wonder if that was
give us some new stuff.
Like, where they had planning on that for a year, and hey, we're going to release these colors, and like he said about Gildan, and he said that they're
just getting the basics.
Yeah, they had this 5-year plan of phasing out certain styles or whatever that they were going to, but instead they just said, they accelerated and they said, nope, gone right now. We're just going to make the basics. Like Bella Canvas, we don't need any new colors.
Like, don't put employee power into making new colors that you're never going to have in stock anyway. I feel like that was a thing before COVID even. They'd be like, oh, we have like 58,000 color options, but we only have stock in 3 of them. It's like, dude, just make some blacks, man. Black and white and heather gray.
Can you play us some intermission music while I take a leak?
You got to take a dump.
It's number one. Be right back.
You froze. You definitely said dump.
Here we go. I'm back.
Pop it. Did you just have some of those sitting around?
Yeah, dude. I always do. Ready?
People juice. Yeah, that's what your people juice looks like.
People juice? What's that? Are you saying Beetlejuice or people? I don't know.
One of the things I wanted to go over, I didn't know if you had, were the top tips that we learned this year. Did you make any lists of that?
Oh, so you're talking about a recap of the best shop hacks of 2020? No, I didn't.
I'm guessing you had a list.
I didn't make a list.
Really?
No, I did. No, I have a short list.
Okay.
Yeah, because there were so many. And
the funny thing is I tried to make a list earlier today, and I know I'm forgetting a bunch.
Yeah,
but I wrote down the ones that like I want to actually implement. All the ones that I thought were stupid ideas, I couldn't remember. There weren't any stupid ideas.
Yeah, there was. I'm pretty sure Jonathan from Success had just the worst ideas.
Everything he said was awful.
I couldn't stand. I mean, the guy was listening. I almost just ended it a couple times.
I threw up in my mouth at least like 5 times.
Right. I mean, that guy. I mean, how is he even? He's in business still. I don't know. We should check in on him.
It's a front.
But no, they all were great. And the one I can hear, so I've got one that I know right now he's going to send us a message as soon as he hears that in the episode. You fuckers. Right. But for real, I'm just going to start it off with my good friend Dylan at Upstate Merch had a great shop hack.
Always. And
it was that he uses hoodie pallets, special pallets. That's right. Special pallets that are for hoodies. They're the standard pallet, but
it's a great idea.
But whenever you have to print a hoodie order, boom, put them on, and then you don't ruin your pallet tape. Genius. Why didn't I think of that? Because I don't know. I suck, I guess.
Right.
I said it for you.
We knew that.
All right. So you got one?
I got a bunch of them. I thought adding food coloring into the water-based glue
Eric
was a great one.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it yet, but I really, really want to do it. I think it's good because it's like palette tape is that like cream color, real light, and then the glue is clear, basically.
Wasn't that Night Owls?
Yeah, I think it was Eric who said that. And I don't know what color I'm going to pick.
We got to give
that's
credit.
That's why I haven't done it yet.
If you're just saying shop hacks and
dude, I don't know. Maybe I know most of these.
Well, sounds like I got a better memory than you, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
my memory's fucking dog shit.
That was our buddy over at Night Owls who gave us that one.
And then Ryan had. I
hope I'm wrong.
No, I think it was Eric. I'm pretty sure. And then Ryan had the bar of soap for over tacky pallets, which I thought was really good.
Say that one again. What
he had like a bar of soap, like a bar of like Dawn dish, like not dish soap, but like a bar of soap. And if you if you put too much palette adhesive on, like when you first apply it, it's too much, and you have like a print that's like a straight line or an oval or some shit or a circle, that you can put like scrub a bar of soap on it real quick, and it'll like bring the tackiness down. So
forgot about that one.
So I thought that was a really good one.
Yeah.
All right, you do another one, so I'm not just stealing the light here.
You're going to have to, because I only wrote down 2 because I didn't know we were going so deep with this.
Fucking piece of shit.
My next one is King Screen, Scott, said that he uses rolling ink carts. You know, like, so I've wanted to do that. Like I had that idea before. Oh, we need to be able to roll this ink cart, you know, from over to the ink department and then over to the press. But I never really actually did it. And so talking to him, like the next day I came in and I had like some of those, we had 2 tables that came with casters and I had never put them on. Mm-hmm. Well, the next day, put the casters on. Mm-hmm. And it was.
And hey, props to Scott. He's super smart. If you don't follow Scott King Screen, mm-hmm. It's at King Screen on Instagram. He's always got tips and tricks and shit on his page of stuff that he's making. He just made those screen racks or whatever.
He also had
he has a ton of stuff on.
He also had the bucket scraper that was rounded on the
yeah, mine's better than yours.
No, it's good. Yeah, this. And so see this guy?
Sucks.
And it's really good and he had it and I bought a 3-pack.
That one sucks.
And it came in and we posted it on our story and then it was like wildflower.
Wildflower.
Like wild
fire. Just like wildflower.
Just like wildflower. Wildflower spread. Like wildfire. We got to say wildflower. Like wildflower, yeah. This shit spread.
Yeah.
But
I did see a shitload of people posting that they bought those.
Yeah. Well, because they're good.
And I'm telling you right now, go on Amazon and buy the metal one that has a bent handle.
No.
It's
why?
better.
I'll tell you exactly why. And I talked to Scott about this is because that you can't clean that shit. You know, you have to be real picky.
It's fucking stainless steel.
You have to be a picky little motherfucker about, the handle isn't bent right. And so how am I going to do it?
I have fucking sausage. I have bear paw hands.
Well, not my problem. Not Scott's problem either. This is better. And you can clean it like really super easily. You want to get the one Dylan is recommending?
You want to be smarter or get the one I got? Get the one I got. Yeah.
All right. Next.
Are you out of tips now?
I got more, but it's your turn.
Okay. All right.
It's your turn. I did the rolling ink cart.
Adding the heater to your dip tank or taking the dip tank off the concrete and putting it on blocks so that the water is warmer.
Did you do that?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did it help?
I did not buy the heater. I bought like rolly carts to get it off the concrete.
And you think it helped?
Yeah, I think the rolly cart made it to where they can move the tank around and dump it easier. And B, it just getting it off the cold concrete is definitely warming the water up.
Right.
I think that was a really good one. And I've been having people just send me and keep doing this for sure. Like if you're listening to this and you have a tip, just send it to me on Instagram. But like I've been having people just send me tips that I didn't ask for, which is awesome. I had somebody send me the other day. I need to shout him out just because. Hold on. Daniel Meza on Instagram sent me these suction cups that have like a little loop on top. They're meant for, you can buy them on Amazon. They're like aquarium water line suction cups to like hold them in the tank. But you buy like a pack of them and you put them on the lid of your like gallon jugs of ink. So you can grab that and take the lid off rather than like grabbing the side and picking it up and then getting ink on your fingertips. I was like, hell yeah, I'm definitely buying those.
Nice.
So that one I got like 3 days ago that I'm just going to buy them and do it. So
send them to me, please.
Yes, I will.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Next.
You want to go again?
I can go all day.
I got another. I got one for plantar fasciitis.
That's not a real thing.
It's very real. And I have it's a sock. It's a support sock. And it feels really good. I sent some to Scott at King Screen, and I don't know if it's helping or not, or if he even used it.
So for people who are printers that have problems with their feet, buy this sock.
Yeah. Buy a, like they're really, like you can get them for your knees too. If you have knee issues, you can get a support knee thing. Yeah. Same thing goes for your plantar fasciitis. Mm. So yeah, get that.
Evergood merch hit me up on Instagram, and he showed me, how we were talking to a few people about label printers, how you can get the rolls or you can get the flat ones that you come in a pack, and when they come through the printer, they like automatically like fold themselves into a stack again. Because right now I use the roll, and when it comes out of the Zebra printer, it just ends up with like a shitload on the floor, and then you have to fold them yourself, and they're still curved and everything. And I have like 5 or 6 Zebra printers in the shop, and I was going to replace them all with like different ones. But anyway, he sent me a thing the other day because he watched that episode and showed me that you can use flat stack labels with the Zebra printer, and it fucking blew my mind. And I was like, dude, you just saved me like hundreds of dollars.
How does it work though? I don't get it, because you have to load the roll.
There's no in the back of the printer, there's a slit, and you can feed the flat label through it. And then in the middle, there's that like green thing with like 2 circles on it that holds the roll. Well, you spread that out to the width of the label because there's like an adjustment on it, and it'll feed right through the back. And then when they come out, they stack themselves back up again. So I was like, holy shit. Like, it's meant to do that. Like, it's meant to do both style labels. Okay. I just had no idea. Okay. So that was a huge one for me that I'm definitely going to like implement for sure.
Okay.
You got any other feet things?
What's another one? Oh. No, I don't have it, man.
Oh, yeah, I don't have anything.
No. I heard of one and I wanted to try, but I didn't try it. So I decided not to say it.
New Duds told us to put a return form on the bottom of the packing slip. I thought that was a really good one because I personally have that problem with just more and more emails of fulfillment customers being like wrong size or whatever, and they want to make a return. He had it written on the bottom of the packing slip, like everything you need to know to make a return, to basically just mail it back with this label. And it says everything you need to do. And I thought that was super smart. It's pretty like obvious to think about, but I mean, if you don't think about it, you're going to deal with it just like I didn't think about it. So dealing with that. And then TC Screen Printing was talking about the Pantone box that he built, the light box. I thought that was really cool, and I kind of want to make one. So basically you have the perfect lighting in this box to where you can lay the shirt down in, and it's the correct light for that Pantone to make sure you have the right colors in case your office lighting sucks or your shop light sucks.
Didn't Tyler say he was going to make us one? I thought.
Yeah, he did.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, he said just like John Hammond in Jurassic Park, he said spare no expense. That he was going to make us these light boxes, and anybody I think who requested, he was going to make them a light box.
I know he was pretty busy like towards the end of the year, so it's like a January project thing.
Right.
Looking for those, Tyler.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right, so that's stuff. That's the recap. We were talking about present, and then all of a sudden we talked about past again. So I think it's time for the future.
All right.
You want to talk about the future?
I want you to tell me about your future.
Okay, well, January is for projects. And so I've got a couple projects lined up, but the first one is tomorrow. Actually, it's not January yet, is it? What's tomorrow?
The 28th.
December 28th. So tomorrow I have an install. And
first of all, tell us why you have an install and what you're doing.
So I am getting a different CTS. I'm going with wax. Baby.
And why?
Because wax doesn't care about humidity and wax doesn't care about surfactants. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm. You did. I'm proud of you.
Alex, let me know. But yeah, those are the two main reasons. And that's more, look, the eye image is great. And it's done good by us, and we still like it. It still works. We used it up until, Christmas Eve, but tomorrow we're getting wax, and it's going to, I'm hoping, from what I understand, what Mark tells me, is that it's going to solve all these problems that we're having downstream. And so we're super stoked.
Right.
So that's our project for, and we're closed all next week. So it's being installed on Monday, and then it gives us a couple days to learn it and get it just right before we come back. So
do you have that couple days with him to just go over it?
He is in St. Louis right now. He was landing at 4:30, and I was going to pick him up, but he said he rented a car. Don't have to. So yeah, we're going to meet here tomorrow morning, and he's going to install it.
Nice.
I went to Best Buy and bought a flat screen, an LED TV. I guess they're all flat screen now, right? But I bought an LED TV, 43-inch for $165, and it's going to be our second monitor, because it has some pretty kick-ass RIP software that Steven from Campus Inc. told me to get the second monitor so that we can preview properly and make decisions in the screen room. So yeah, that's a big move for us, and so that's the future. That's the future as far as like equipment goes. I have no other plans for equipment. Well, that's not true. Hothead, that is on the list. I'm going to order it. I was going to order it back about a month ago, but they're like 6 weeks out. I was going to try and get in here before the end of the year, but so that's going to be one I'm going to order on Hothead in the month of January, and also get Wax going. How about you?
I want to hear though, like your business or just goals for the future, not just what equipment you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, equipment was part of it, and so yeah, then there's the business side, right?
What are you doing?
There's that business side. You go first. What are you doing?
Okay. Well, equipment wise, I'm probably going to be adding a auto reclaim. I'm not sure which one yet. But it's probably going to happen in the spring. Another thing I'm going to buy is a auto fold and bagger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so those will probably be my two equipment purchases this year.
That's rad. The auto bagger. I mean, I would love one.
Yeah.
Do you know?
It's not as much. It's not as much as you think it would be.
And you've got the space.
That's the thing, is pretty much my goal for this year, if I can pull it off, is to like triple the size or double the size of shipping and receiving. So I own the building, but I also own like plots of land on both sides. So the side that shipping and receiving is on, I kind of want to blow out to as close to my property line as I can. So I say double or triple because I need to talk to code to find out how close to my property line I can actually build, because I know there's laws like 15 feet from your line or whatever else. So I need to figure that out, and then I can figure out how much bigger I can make shipping and receiving. But my goal is to make a finishing department. Right now I have finishing kind of like spread out through the building, whether it's like heat presses or tags or whatever is like just out there wherever I can fit it. But I want to make a whole section at the end of shipping and receiving that's basically, your flow. So it goes from pressed to folded to back out to shipping and receiving, and then they can check it back, count it back in, and then it immediately goes to finishing, and then finishing right to the loading dock. So I want to say I build that out in the spring or whatever, I want to add the folder bagger, get all the finishing stuff down there, tables, everything supplies wise for finishing, and then streamline that as much as possible. So everything kind of goes in that direction. But yeah, right now we're doing folding and bagging. I bought a semi-auto bagger that we basically never got into because it needed tweaks and I didn't feel like messing around with it. So we actually just got rid of that on Christmas Eve. The guy finally came and picked it up. But yeah, I want to buy the M&R folder bagger. So you basically just lay it on, hit the button, goes through, folds it, puts it in a poly bag, and then you can get attachments too, to where it barcodes it at the end, puts it in the box. So yeah, I want to add that. And like I said, just the auto reclaim stuff was just the next step anyway.
Which is coming first, the bagger or reclaim?
Probably reclaim. And then I will look into the building scenario. And then hopefully by the end of the year, we put the, fulfillment or the finishing station down on the other end of the building. That stuff aside, I think for me, mostly this year is just going to be growth business wise. And like, I don't know, like I was talking about employees, benefits and all that stuff. I really want to dive deep into my staff and figure out the best way to take care of everybody more so than I already do. Now finally, I mean, I feel like I keep talking about this renovation like it's this huge fucking project, but to me, in my mind, it was like, for me, it's like,
It takes a long time.
right. Well, it took like we started it in March. Like we literally started when COVID started, and I'm excited to put together a video of like all the like before pictures and after pictures and stuff. But like for me, it's a big deal because like I've been thinking about it. I've been working on it like in all my free time all year long. Me and my dad are finally going to finish it next week. So I'll have my own office and managers will have their own office. We'll have more room for just chilling and more room for sales. I'm going to have a whole section that's just, like for photography and taking pictures of product shots and stuff or making videos. So that's going to be nice. But other than that, this year, it took us 10 years basically to switch ink mixing systems. So we ended up going with the Monarch system. And we've been loving it so far. We did a bunch of tests before we even bought the system. But the other day we did a job, which was pretty crazy, where we had an orange, like a like a hunter orange color on an independent camo hoodie. And we had the Wilflex Epic system mixed on the shelf, put it in the screen, started printing a job. I walked by it. He did one hoodie and I was like, oh, we should probably like PFP that either white or the orange or something. Like it's not opaque enough. Like you can see the white through it, or not see white, but but it wasn't like solid. And, we had the Monarch system sitting here that we haven't like fully put into place as far as like the whole system. And I was like, let's just set up the system. So I set up the system that morning. I mixed that orange Pantone, came out perfect, exactly what it was supposed to be. Put it in the screen instead, and it was night and day difference. It was like,
that's awesome.
Solid, opaque, better hand feel than the Wilflex. And I was just like, hell yeah, I'm super excited to like use this system. So we used it for a couple days.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought into it. We have the 2 5s of whatever the mixing whites are,
right?
And then a gallon of all the colors. It's just we were so jammed up the past like month. We haven't.
Same with me. We had so much stuff going on, and I know I had enough ink on the shelves to where I could probably get by without mixing anything for a little while. Mm-hmm. And then we finally got to the point where we had to mix some colors. Yeah, I didn't get one of those.
Isn't that cool? Maybe yours is at the.
It's lost in the mail.
What did you say earlier? It's at the. It's in.
It's on the floor at the post office
facility, or it's on the floor.
Yeah.
All right. So.
One other thing that's important for me this year that I feel like I just got wore down enough on with this podcast was I'm going to look into possibly updating my shop management software. So I feel like if I'm going to go through this whole thing with employees and tweaking and making things better, it might be a good time to implement a new system.
Bruce?
So we'll see.
It's exciting stuff, man.
I'm not positive.
Exciting stuff. Well, I would say that, so that's equipment stuff. HR, let's see. Well, we have to add a few more people. I think that was one of my, there was another mistake I made. I didn't add enough people back for the fall. Like, I shouldn't say enough people back because we're pretty well back to where we were, but just more people. So we definitely need to make a couple of hires, also move a couple people around because I know there's a few people who are doing in some roles that they would be better doing something different, and we've already had conversations about that. So, but just there wasn't any time. In fact, so how it really is I have to find somebody else to fill their role before they move out of it, before they can move to the new role. Future business, like business development. I have somebody here and she's ready to go, but it was with the holidays and we were too busy. Combination of things. We were too busy to put her in that role. So if she were getting more business, that would have been a bad thing at that point. And also it's just a bad time to develop with what we were going to do was a bad time, timing wise, to go out.
It's like, hey, go get a bunch more business. And that way we can tell those customers that there's no stock.
There's no stock, or we're too busy to get it done, or, they're dealing with their holiday issues too. So it was just timing was wrong. And so January and February and March, that's what the plan is. And so we're excited about that.
We're pretty much doing the same thing. We're hiring more customer service people, and some of the people that have already been here are going into more of a role of, taking the time and collecting data and, focusing on our good customers and hitting them up more frequently with new ideas and new styles and stuff, instead of just waiting for them to come to you with a new order. I kind of want to stay on top of that stuff more this year. I mean, if you have more people to do it, then you might as well do it.
Right. And then personally, I want to, I'm going to get proper sleep. I'm going to get proper diet. Got to do a little better there. I've been eating too much. I'm going to continue to go to Cody with Joanne 3 times a week and get in even better shape. And then I've got something big here. Then I'm going to read some books. We are.
Hey, that was on my list.
Take that back.
That was on my list.
Well, check this out, motherfucker.
Were you starting a book club?
It's damn straight. And you know what?
Show book club?
You know what? I already bought our first books and I sent it to you.
Oh, God damn.
Yep. It's on its way. You ready? Can I tell you which book?
Is it a real book or an audio book?
It's a real book.
I mean, is it like I'm getting a fucking copy of a book, or is it something I can download? Oh, okay.
It's a hard cover.
I'm not doing that. I'm going to buy the audio, and then I'm going to use the book you sent me as a coaster.
Here's what I'm going to need. This is called an intervention. And here's what I'm going to need from you. And I'm just going to need a commitment that our very first book, you actually read words, like read them on a page. Yeah, you can. You can.
I'm going to come out and say this right now that I can't read. I don't know how to read. I never learned how to read. Can't read.
Well, there's a perfect time to learn. So
here's a fucking book about business. Learn to read.
Yeah. So here's what it's called. You ready? The first title of our book club.
Green Eggs and Ham. Green Eggs and Ham.
This book club has 2 members in it.
Is it a Where's Waldo?
No.
Then I can't
Dylan,
read it.
This is about learning stuff. Okay. This is about.
Okay. All right. What's this book?
Okay. So the first one I chose.
Is it 2 Second Lean?
You're not even letting me. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what it is.
I'm just so excited to read.
That would have been a good idea, because I know we had that recommended to us several times.
I'm full of good ideas.
So 2 Second Lean, that's got to be the second book. But this book, the first book to kick off the 2021 Shirt Show Book Club, is titled Never Split the Difference. It's called Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It.
Sounds like a real fucking page turner.
Yeah. Well, it is. And are you ready? It's on the New York Times bestseller list. So check this out. I'll read
New York Times doesn't know anything.
Well, they track how many people buy this book. Okay. So there's also reviews. Go to Amazon, do whatever you got to do.
They pay people
Don't do that.
overseas.
Don't do that. Just here, the book's going to show up, and just read it, and that'll be a book, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. And this is something
I'm with you on this. I feel like we should do Shirt Show Book Club. I feel like we should get as many people involved that want to get involved and grow with us as possible. So if you want to be part of this book club, we need to make posts about what book we're reading and when we're going to talk about it, when we're going to get together.
Yeah. All right.
But I am 100% getting the audio version of this and not reading it.
Well, do what you got to do, but I'm excited about it. It's about part of what it talks about is that life is a series of negotiations you should be prepared for, like buying a car, negotiating a salary, buying a home, renegotiating rent, which is what I talked about earlier. deliberating with your partner, taking emotional intelligence and intuition to the next level. So never split the difference gives you the competitive edge in any discussion. So excited about it.
Me too. Hey, me too, man.
Well, I didn't waste my money because when it arrives at your house, you can put it on your nightstand, and then you can read every night right before you go to bed. It'll be perfect.
That's what I do right before I go to bed.
So, yeah, excited about that. I have this to say, and then I'll shut up. And that is, I would love it if people liked or subscribe to this podcast if they haven't, or subscribe to our YouTube channel if they haven't, or give us a
YouTube.
Did I say it wrong? I must have. YouTube? Is that how you say it? I don't know. Tell me.
The kids call it YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did I say? YouTube?
YouTube.
So subscribe to YouTube. It's like the newest thing. Like that's what the kids are watching. But yeah, so give us a review or even a rating, and that helps get this podcast out.
I'm not even going to ask for that. I'm going to ask for, do that. Like, be a nice person and go do that. If you're listening to this, just fucking be a nice human.
That'd be cool.
The other thing is on Facebook or Instagram, just like share something you heard or a screenshot of something in your Instagram stories. That way other people are like, oh, what is that? I guess I'll check that out. That would be really cool. I mean, we give you guys all this knowledge. Well, I give you all the knowledge, and then you get all the bad advice from Andy.
Well, you have to have both, right? You need good advice and bad advice. And
they need to hear what I have to say, and then hear what you have to say and be like, holy shit, that's a bad idea. And then,
the saying, if you get good advice, pass it on. Same thing goes with bad advice. Pass that on too. So
pass that shit on to your enemies.
Yeah. Take us out, Dylan.
Well, we got to ask each other what we're having for dinner first. You missed that.
I did. Yeah. So I'm having, we have this bag of fresh made pasta, ravioli. It's got chicken and garlic and something in it. So yeah, so we're having fresh pasta.
A bag of fresh made pasta?
Yeah. So it's in the refrigerator. You know what I mean? Like, it's not frozen.
Right. Like somebody made it and put it in a bag and gave it to you.
Somebody made it at a factory and then put it in a bag, probably M&R's auto bagger.
Right.
And then shipped it. No. Yeah, they shipped it. And then
put the word fresh on it and you bought it.
Yeah, they shipped it frozen, and then it got to the grocery store. They unfroze it, and it's fresh. It's
Chef Boyardee, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
In a can.
It's just SpaghettiOs.
Nothing wrong with SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have leftover pizza. And I think we're trying to watch all the Star Wars movies from the beginning. So I'm going to do that over the next couple of days.
Don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, hey, man, in all reality, this podcast has been one of the best things I've done. And I'm stoked to do it again in 2021.
Me too. 52 more episodes.
Next year.
Hey,
you know what would be really fun is if like ISS happened and we could actually go and hang out with all the people that we love and share this podcast, and we can just have a big hangout and drink some what was it, Angel's Envy that you have?
That's right.
Really weird, but it'd be great. I love you. I'm glad we got to do this together. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, love you too, man.
Hey, see ya.
All right. Hugs, kisses.
Hugs.
XO.
See ya.
See ya.